My name is Margit Rosen. I've been on and off ZKM for a very, very long time. I started here to work as a student, being the first assistant to Peter Weibel in 1999. So it's been a very long time. My background is I'm an art historian, but I also studied media arts, so have been very early on been involved hands-on with the difficulties of electronic technology. And now talking and doing this.
Speaking about problems with
speaking about problems. So, first of all, also from me, a very. Should I continue to use this microphone, or may I just switch to this? A very warm welcome. 2 years ago, we had another a great conference about electronic restoration. It had the name Note Just in Time. Now we are in No Time to Wait. Both titles suggest an urgency, but also a passion, which we all feel. And in fact, ZKM is, along with a few other institutions, associations, and individuals, it belongs to this still pretty small group of protectors of electronic digital art in our museum landscape. And I'm therefore all the more pleased that we're able to host No Time to Wait here and welcome you. And thanks to Margit, who initiated that, and of course also to Annika, co-organized this. And I have to say, in the last years, through Morgan Stricot, Mathieu Vlaminck, and their network, I have discovered with enthusiasm that there is a culture of collaboration, alliance building, knowledge sharing, and solidarity in this field, which is not a given in the art world normally. And so I'm an art historian, not a conservator, and my job is to create the conditions for my wonderful colleagues that they can do their work. So now I'm very briefly will introduce you a little bit to ZKM and to the department Wissen. And the idea for this institution emerged actually already in 1984. The idea was born by Michael Heck, the then cultural officer of the city of Karlsruhe. And the model for ZKM was, in fact, the MIT Media Lab, which was about to be founded in 1985, but also the Center for Advanced Visual Studies. And it took a slight turn from being a place for artistic research and production, that was the first intention, to a place which would also house collections. And this was thanks to the first director, Heinrich Klotz, the founder of the Architectural Museum, who gave it a more museal turn already at the beginning. And it was not about replacing electronic art, traditional art with electronic arts, but Heinrich Klotz had certain doubts still about this new art set. Now we also have this institution in order that the new electronic arts have or can prove if they can compete or survive next to something like a painting or a sculpture. So it was founded in 1989, mostly as a place to provide artists with access to new technologies for artistic research and production, but also as for the media for the citizen to allow for public reflection and discourse on current and potential future impact of emerging technologies on art and society. And with Peter Weibel coming in 1999, we met a certain transformation. Instead of an isolated focus on technology, which was still kind of a heritage of the 1960s, there was a strategic inclusion of all sciences and all social actors. And over the years, there was a greater proportion of museum tasks. This is what ZKM does in whole, enormous number of exhibitions, events, publications, also collections, archives, library, and artistic research and development. And it is still a surprise that we, from this very little town of Karlsruhe, are known worldwide for what we do. That's also a lot thanks to the publications, which mostly were published in English. So the department Wissen was founded only in 2017. We had collections before, and we had also archival goods flying around, but when ZKM was founded, what the creators forgot was to create an archive or an archival structure. And I don't know if Johannes Goebel is already in the back. There was one big exception, one single person who did not forget about the needs for archives, and that was Johannes Goebel, then the head of the Institute for Musik und Akustik there in the back. But we decided to create this structure because the collections were spread over 3 different departments. There was no central archival structure. And we chose the name Wissen, which in German is both for to know and knowledge, so it's also an active term, because we wanted to make clear that working with archives and collections was not about import and export or about storage, but really to transform it into, living knowledge. The archives contain both the institutional archives and the archives of artists and theorists. With the collection come more archives, the archives of our restaurators, and also the archives of software, which over the years also Morgan and Mathieu and other colleagues built up. In the library, we also have archival holdings, because we also collect technical manuals, which are important. And of course, why we can welcome all these complex archives, both of our house, but also from artists, which are not just paper, is because we have in the department also the lab for digital restoration and the lab for antiquated video systems. Most archives would deny to accept a lot of the goods we accept simply because they do not have the technical environment and expertise. And what we have now since 2022 is also the digital management, digital infrastructure section, which serves both the complete ZKM with the infrastructure for all our archival holdings, but of course is also very much focused on our collection and archives, and Andreas will, and my colleagues will talk about all of that in greater detail. And just one last statement I want to make about that. If you are in other institutions, normally collections are here, archives are here, restoration is over there, no matter if you look at the Tate or at the Pompidou. And this actually causes problems on a day-to-day basis. I can really say that this prototype, which in a way also was a pilot, if it would work, really proved to be excellent, to be so closely linked together in one department, and be in conversation every single moment, and also in the decision-making process about acquisitions, which also mean that the traditional hierarchy in German museums, which is very much like this, here are the curators, and somewhere down there are the restaurators, archivists are maybe here, that we also try to make clear that if we want to do our work good, well, if we do not want to lose expertise, knowledge, and also the joy of work, we really have to take decisions together and be in constant conversation. What I've forgot to say is that restoration is not only us, but also restaurators which are placed in the museum technique department, and we are at the moment discussing also the the structure, which on a daily basis actually works excellently, but still there might be some things to adapt. Our collections and archive, we have about 12,000 works. To mention is mainly that we have 244 computer-based installations, and looking at the budget, I can say the computer-based installations just are a tiny little percentage of our collection, just as the video installations, but they consume 95% of our budget for restoration, our time and attention and research. It's not by surprise that only very few institutions still decide to acquire computer-based work. We have the institutional archives. Here you see the number. Then the archives of artists and theorists, more than 200 by now. We have our restoration archives, and of course also the library. And I just wanted to give you a brief idea about our collections. We have these 1,500 videotapes. It's mainly video art from the 1960s to the 1990s, like the collection as it was installed. At the beginning, we have these major video installations, mainly also of the big names of the 1980s and 1990s, but we also acquired now some installations by younger artists. Then what I have added on through my research to the collection was mainly the really earliest experiments with computer in the arts, dating back from the early 1960s, which is on paper and film, very easy to keep alive. And of course, as you all know, we have some of the Mona Lisas of early interactive art, as for example Geoffrey Shaw's Legible City, or Christa Sommer's and Laura Mignot's interactive plant growing. But of course, we keep to acquire works for our collection now with a stronger focus at the moment of works using machine learning or neural networks. And this also is a part of our collection, the whole blockchain based works, where we also made international headlines when we managed to send two of our CryptoPunks on a holiday, I would say. Well, we sent it by accident to their own smart contract, which was not a good idea. The archives, I think Felix will talk in greater detail about what we have there. Just one remark. Acquiring archives from artists is a question of trust. Most archives that are here because we have been working for a long time with the artists. They know how we work. They know that we are not excluding them from their archives, but working with them on a daily basis and trying to support also their continuous creative work. And we created from that both publications from the archives, but also exhibitions. Felix, will you talk about the Harald Bode archives? And that's a very beautiful project, just to mention that, which Felix initiated. So in this case, Harald Bode, one of the constructors of analog synthesizers, who also worked for Moog. This project involves the reconstruction of one of the barber pole phaser, because we hold here Harald Bode's notebooks, and so this will come both with a reconstruction of the barber pole phaser and also a concert using this analog instruments and a publication. Again, the library, I can just recommend, if you have time, to browse through. It's a specialized library on the topics you might be interested in. Very important for us, really, since 2022, is with Andreas Kohlbecker, that we finally have somebody who takes care of our data in a very professional way, and that we might also apply in the near future some machine learning methods to handle better our over 20,000 videos, which we've digitized and which are difficult to access in a lifetime. Some of you had the pleasure to visit the Laboratory for Antiquated Video Systems. This is one of the most visited laboratories at ZKM, and we do all this restoration work mainly for artists. We do it for free. In exchange, we receive the permission to keep this copy here, make it accessible to researchers, and sometimes also artists grant permission that we show the work or even lend the work. And this is how we created an incredible research environment for the art of the 20th century with documentations of historic performances. I just say Yoko Ono, that was one finding of a lost performance, Yoko Ono and John Lennon, and many other things. So maybe part of the art history of 20th century can be rewritten if researchers more and more use this incredible resource. Digital restoration, somebody will talk about that, so I just finish with that sound.
Art is always right.
So that was the last thing I wanted to say. What's wrong with art, and art is always right. This was just a brief pass through what we're doing here. We're a small team, I have to say that. But all, how should I say, we're not just administration, we're really every single person with an enormous passion doing this. Yeah.
Thank you very much. As far as I know, we do not have any questions from the online audience. Do we have questions or comments from the real world audience? But look at their faces.
In the back.
They're like, wow. There's one in the back. Okay.
I could call some of them
Thank
out
you.
by name.
Hi, Kieran O'Leary from the National Library of Ireland. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about was it always organised as one super department, the Wissen department, or what was it like before? And was there any resistance to that of making things kind of unified?
You mean this?
Yes.
No, there was, you mean when we were bringing together collections and archives and libraries, there was resistance? Actually, it was a historic moment. The head of two of the collections went away, so there was no resistance from that. And of course, it took a time. It took a time to get together. Surely 1 or 2 years to also establish the processes of how we handle all the different things that usually happen in a museum, from acquisitions to loans to restoration processes. But no, there was. I can say there was not a lot of resistance, and everybody in the rest of the house was very happy that they would get rid of the different archives which were distributed all over the house. It was more, people were relieved that there was finally a functioning structure. The only discussion was maybe that not everybody understood why we've chosen the name Wissen, knowledge, though if you look at the discourse, both of politicians and cultural entrepreneurs, Wissen seems to be a key term, but it seemed too far away from traditional notions of the museum. So normally this would be collections and archives, period. But we wanted to show that it's just more than storage and import-export.
Thank you.
There's one more.
Hello, Margit, Österreichische Mediathek. I was curious, you mentioned your plan is to use machine learning for improving your storing and preservation, so I would like to...
No, we're just writing an application because we have these over 20,000 digitized tapes, and all the technology, all the software which we would need is in principle out there available. Speech to text, text to text, scene recognition, and so on. These technologies are all there, but they are not available for us. So we teamed up with the University of Düsseldorf and of the University of Basel. Now we are applying for research funding to take elements of these tools which are out there, to adapt them to our need and make them available for our daily work. But we're not yet there. It's still in the future.